Hello and Happy New Year to you if I've not spoken to you before. It's good to reflect, and I'm going to reflect on the two Bible passages that have been so well read for us a bit earlier. And the title of what I'm going to talk about is, Are you listening to God's call? Are you listening to God's call? We're all unique and special in God's sight, and He speaks to us in different ways. In my last church, there were a couple of women who felt that God spoke directly to them in a very clear way. For others, He speaks to those people around us, whether they're Christian or non-Christian. They say something and it resonates and it kind of fits with what we think God is saying to us at the time. For others, it's life experience, and sometimes doors are closed and sometimes doors are opened. But all of these things we need to check out and just check that they're biblical, because God's not going to get us to do anything that doesn't fit with His word. We also need to check it out with our fellow Christian believers, those people that are journeying with us. Just check out, is God really saying this to me? And maybe just getting that discernment from them as much as it is, just to check that out. In verse 8 of the passage that was read from Samuel, it says, a third time the Lord called Samuel. And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, Here I am, you called. But Eli realised that the Lord was calling the boy. The Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, Go lay down, and if he calls you, say, Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. The Lord came and stood there, calling as in the other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel said, Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Are you listening to God's call? It's a big question. Even if you are listening to God's call, will you be able to respond, and will you respond to what He's asking you to do? Samuel had been dedicated to the temple to serve, and this was even before he was born. And he was ready to receive the message from God. A bit like a monk, he had his day planned out. There would have been slots for prayer and for fasting and for listening to God in different ways. Voice is going. As I said when I spoke about with Cedric a little bit earlier, there sometimes are so many distractions in our lives. Things block out and we don't really have the time that we should to listen to God. And even when we do have the time to start listening to Him, do we have this time to respond to Him? I'll just come back in a moment and carry on.